Hello, hello. Welcome back. We are here with our lovely guest, Sam, and we are going to be talking about steampunk, as I'm sure you can guess from our set right now. So, I'm going to start us off and tell us about your nerd cred. What makes you a nerd?
Well, I've been a professional steampunk artist for the last 5 years. Every year, my company and I close the fashion show at TeslaCon, which you guys are familiar with conventions, so I'm sure you know about TeslaCon. This year, we were the largest steampunk fashion show in the country.
Very nice.
So, yeah. Besides that, read my first Jules Verne novel when I was 7.
Wow. Nice.
That's impressive.
There you
Which
go.
one was it?
20,000 Leagues Under the Sea.
One of my favorite
Classic.
books.
Yes.
Okay, so we're here to talk about steampunk. Can you explain to any of our viewers who may not know what steampunk is, just what the basic is?
Sure. Steampunk is Victorian science fiction. So think of it as if Jules Verne's world were actually the world. If Victorian culture had stayed roughly the same, but the technology had advanced far beyond what they ended up with.
Gotcha. Cool. What attracted you to steampunk, like, in the first place?
Well, I have a family full of scientists, and I was the lone artist in a family full of nerds, and this was one of the ways that we could connect was through science fiction.
Gotcha.
And so, I mean, that's how you got into steampunk. How did you get into, like, the steampunk design that you do?
Well, there's a lot of ways I did. Part of it just came from I didn't think there was enough awesome art that was out there being made for everyone. It seemed
solid.
like things that were made at this level were made too expensive for the average person to buy. So that, and I have an inability to go to a thrift store and not buy the cool stuff I see. So it was either that or get a warehouse.
Gotcha. I'm just going to ask a quick little side question. Is this stuff functional? Like, does the clock function?
The clock is functional. It's run off of a standard battery-operated
nice.
clock. This, another thrift store find, that
Yeah,
then
we looked it
has
up for the
pipes. This is a copper coil that was hand-coiled. There's valves on there. These pretty valves that you see on the front, those are actually gas valves from back when we had gas lamps in people's houses.
Very nice.
And then this is one of my favorites. This my Uncle
Could
John
you lift
designed.
that up for us? Or is
This
that,
one, sure. So this runs on an Arduino system. Each one of these knobs changes one of the colors of light.
Cool.
So by turning them, there's the white, you can turn it all the way up. You can literally make any color in the rainbow just by turning the light that you want.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
So
And then the LED cage in the center was all hand soldered together by him, and it runs off of a program. The whole thing runs off of an Arduino system, so you can literally build it yourself. But it's a great example of steampunk work because the outside is very Victorian, but obviously the technology is far advanced.
You mentioned Arduino. Did you code the system yourself, or did
I
somebody
didn't.
else?
This is all my Uncle John Bergren.
Very cool.
Yeah, I tend to do the pretty stuff, and he makes it prettier for me
Gotcha.
by lighting it up. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Well, cool. So what is your favorite item to design?
Oh, I do love a good gown, I have to admit. I do a lot of the building myself. I do a lot of the high, what we would call the less ladylike parts. But I do love dressing a gown. I do them the old-fashioned way, so everything is bespoke. All of our tailoring, essentially, to build a gown, I stick it on a mannequin, pin it up, and it becomes a gown, and then it's taken off and either hand-sewn or machine-sewn, depending on the stitch that we need at the time. So,
That's so cool.
yeah, it's kind of doing it the old-fashioned way, and it's really better than anything you can do on a machine today.
Yeah.
And do you design just for yourself, or do you design for others as well?
I design wedding dresses and celebrations, actually. Now we're doing events. I've done prom dresses. Actually, I just had a girl go to prom in a TARDIS gown. I'm so psyched for her.
Very nice.
Yeah, she sent me pictures. It was really awesome. So pretty much, if you can send us a dress, we'll punk it. And we've done everything from fairy costumes to mermaids to, we have the TARDIS Victoriana, which is kind of very popular on the internet, so I'm sure both of you have seen it. It won at Anomaly Con, not this year, but the last year, their Best in Show for the costume contest.
Nice.
Yeah.
What's your favorite dress that you've ever designed?
Oh, my favorite. Actually, my favorite hasn't actually come out yet. For this year's TeslaCon, the theme is the expedition to Paris, and we are designing an entirely black, white, and silver Paris gown that's going to light up with an Eiffel Tower hat.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you could bring back one item from like the actual Victorian era, what would you bring back and why?
Oh, the bustle, absolutely.
All right.
The bustle. Everybody looks good in a bustle. More people should wear them.
All right. That's pretty solid.
That's pretty solid.
Yeah.
Okay. And so I'm just curious, like you said that you got into it, but how do you even get trained? Like what's
There's not
how do you
really
get
any
into that?
training for this. Most of the art that I do isn't actually considered art by most art schools because they're not into upcycling and compiling things that are already in existence. So this is both a very old art form and a very new art form. Back in the day, people would never just throw things away or put them in a thrift store. You would use them for something else. So essentially, I'm taking that very old-fashioned thing and using it with modern stuff. But I took a lot of art classes in school and had to get away from art to then get back into art. So I spent 10 years as a writer and then decided to start making things with my hands again. And I absolutely love it. I'm not going back to writing.
Very nice. What kind of stuff did you write? Did you write like steampunk fiction? Or?
I did write some steampunk fiction. I wrote a lot of postmodern fiction,
Cool.
a lot of short fiction, a lot of poetry,
Gotcha.
a lot of song lyrics. Yeah, so if you want to write and actually make any money at it, you have to sort of do a whole lot of little things.
I gotcha.
Yeah, so at one point I was actually writing copy for an ad company, and that's when I decided, no more.
That's pretty fair.
Yeah, I had to write for money and decided it wasn't worth it anymore.
Gotcha.
Okay. So just I guess our last question would be: do you think there are any, or rather, is there anything else we should know about steampunk?
Don't just throw a gear on it. Please don't just throw a gear on it. Steampunk is about taking something old and bringing something new into it. You can't just stick a gear on a computer keyboard and call it steampunk. So, in fact, some of the best steampunk I've ever seen has absolutely no gears whatsoever, no goggles, no funny mustaches, no nothing. It's just taking very modern concepts and reverting them to the past.
Gotcha. All right. Well, we are gonna head over to our other set, and you're gonna show us how to punk some stuff
I
up.
am. I'm going to show you how to punk some
All
stuff.
right, and we'll be back
Awesome.
right after this commercial.